Hey man, say man. Y'all know y'all hear this voice. Y'all see these two pictures up here. Y'all know what it is. It's Clutch Factory. We clutched up, we clutched out. You know, we're talking about that boxing. I'm Boss Hog, Boss Dog. K-Po through the dope. Coach B, aka Brody on the hustle. We back again on the track again. But before I get into the long term main, I'll try the main bitch. Coach B, get his people your spiel. Keep it trill and keep it real. What it do?
Hey, what it is, folks? Long time no speak. You know what I'm saying? It's been a minute. I apologize. Holidays is here. I've been hustling, trying to get, this money right for the kids, for the family, and everything else that's gonna happen in the near future. But anyways, like Capo said, we back at it. We clutched up, we clutched out. Y'all know we're here to talk about. And y'all know what I'm finna tell y'all next. It ain't nothing changed. If God wake you up and He put breath in your body, everything else is extra. Get up, do you, take care of the fam, and let that be that. And with all that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and pass it back to Capo. Go ahead and continue the show, and let's let them know how we
Um,
flow.
but there's one guy, man, that is making a little noise, coach. That's Shu Shu. Bruce Carrington is fighting Carlos Castro, who's 30-3. Um, Shu Shu is 16-0. And he's getting an opportunity now. Kubo Fulton has vacated his WBC belt at 126 pounds, so Shu Shu and Castro is now a full WBC title fight. Um, So, what do you think about that fight? Do you think Shushu is deserving of this opportunity? Um, and if he so happens to win, you know, which way do you want to see him go? You got Nick Ball there. Um, you still got Little Figueroa. I think it's Brandon Figueroa. He called himself the Heartbreak or whatever his name is. So it's a couple of good fights that can be made at 126 pounds. So, coach, let me know something.
Shu Shu Carrington. I ain't gonna lie. He's he has a little bit of entertainment to him. He has a little bit of character to him. I mean, I can't say I like or hate him, but at the same time, I mean, I feel like 16 fights in, he's been saying nobody wants to fight him, nobody's giving him an opportunity, this and that and the third. So, and you got to forgive me. I don't know too much about Castro. I'm gonna go back and look. I stand corrected. I got to go back and watch Castro, but it is what it is. He got an opportunity. Cool boy Fulton did what he had to do. He moved. I guess he moved out the way. He vacated, whatever the case may be. And it is what it is. Shu Shu is now presented an opportunity to become a champion. You know, and it is what it is. I can respect that. Me personally, when I watch Shu Shu, I don't know what it is, but I think he's missing something. He's a decent fighter. He has a lot of tools within his belt, but at the same time, I think he's missing something. What it is, I don't know. I gotta watch him a little bit more. Go back and watch some film, some footage, and actually study him. He's not a guy that I've really studied, over the last year, over the last few years. But at the same time, I do respect some of the things that he does bring, to the sport of boxing. He brings charisma, he brings aura, he brings confidence. He has a decent style of fighting within himself. He believes in himself. And that, like I said before, fighters that believe in themselves are dangerous fighters. I don't care if they one trick ponies or 32 different trick ponies. He believes in himself. That is a dangerous fighter for anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your name is. But at the same time, it is what it is. He's now been presented his opportunity. He's been asking for the opportunity. He's been saying, guys, are avoiding him. They're ducking him. So now you're going against a guy who's obviously seasoned. He got 33 fights, 30 wins, 30 losses. I mean, 30 wins, 3 losses. That's a seasoned guy. I don't care who you fought. I don't care who you fighting. 30 wins, 3 losses. He's fighting a seasoned guy. And like I say, y'all gotta stick with me. I gotta go back and look at Castro and see what he brings to the table and see if he actually poses a real issue for Shu Shu. But like I say, if you 30 fights in, 33 fights in, you're gonna pose a problem for somebody, some way, somehow. Especially for a guy who only has 16 to 17 fights. So at the same time, like I say, I've seen Shu Shu before. I've watched him a couple times, but to me, when I watch him, it's something missing. What it is, I don't know. Like I say, I got to go back and watch the film a little bit more on him and actually study him and see what type of background he comes from, where does he get his style from, and all the other good stuff, and then I can critique him a little bit more. But at the same time, like I say, he brings something different, a little different to the sport of boxing, character or charisma, all that other good stuff, and I like it. You know, when he does talk, you get on there. He got a little flow to him. He got a little different, etiquette to him when he speaks, and after these fights. So, like I say, I can respect that. He's not really hanging on to anybody's coattail. He's doing his own thing. I can respect that 100%. So, a guy like that, yes, I'm gonna say give him a shot. You know what I'm saying? Give him a shot. And it is what it is. I believe it wholeheartedly. Like I say, again, you got to forgive me. I don't know too much about Castro, but at the same time, I feel like he'll pose a problem because he's seasoned. But at the same time, I got to go back and look at film on these two. But at the same time, I think Shu Shu can pull it off and he can go ahead and do what he got to do with himself and finally bolster himself to the front and be able to politic a little bit more for what he wants to do with his promotions and everything else in the rest of his career. But like I say, this is two guys I got to go study a little bit more so I can be able to critique and talk a little bit more about. But at the same time, I don't have too much against Shu Shu at all. Like I say, I respect him because he's a guy who gets in there and he does what he's supposed to do. In some way, somehow he continues to win. So you can't be mad at a guy like that at all. He's getting his opportunity. Hopefully he sees the moment. He sees the opportunity and everything that he's been putting out into the atmosphere as far as words happens to come true for him. And I wish him nothing but the best of luck. And I'm gonna leave that like that.
Yeah, I don't know too much about Castro either. Um, so I can't really give an accurate fight prediction. Um, I've heard of him, but I haven't watched him. In these lower weight classes, I'm not gonna lie to you. It's real difficult sometimes to watch uh, some of these guys. Um, unless it's you know, Bam Bam or Nail Inui, Fulton, Angelo Leo, Nick Ball, those type of fighters, you watch them, but it's real difficult to watch these other guys. But Shu Shu, if he wins, he has a lot of opportunity. This is opportunity I think he can take care of. He been, like you said, coach, he been fiending for these fights. He been calling out everybody. He wants the best fights. He wants to fight Naoya Inoue. He believes he can beat Naoya Inoue. If you ask him, he gonna tell you I can beat him, right? So, um, most people think he's crazy, but that's just how much belief he has in himself. So, I mean, they be like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah." So, I ain't gonna lie, I respect it. I respect the mindset. That is a tall order going against Noah in a way. I mean, the only thing he'll have over Noah in a way is the weight because in a way fights at 122. But like I say, man, we'll see if that time comes. But he got a lot to prove. You know, if he wins this belt, I know he's gonna want to unify. There's some good fights there. You got Nick Ball who beats Raymond Ford. Raymond Ford was a champion at 126, and Nick Ball beat Raymond Ford handily. So you got Angelo Leo, who's a big puncher. He's the IBF champion. So it's a good fight. Rafael Espinosa, that's a good fight. So there's some good fights for him as far as unification at 126. So, I would want him, if he does win this fight, to kind of focus on that. And Shu Shu winning a belt at 126 is good for boxing because he has the charisma. Like you pointed out, the charisma. He gonna talk that talk, right? And he gonna fight an exciting fight too. You know what I mean? I mean, he from Brooklyn. Them dudes up there, yo son, yo money. They do all that talking. You know what I mean? I'm not really a big fan of the talking, right? But from a marketing standpoint, I understand it, and that's what sells. Fighters that got the charisma, right? That's gonna draw a crowd. That's gonna draw people to want to be like, man, who is that dude, right? So, um, I think he'll be good for the weight class, and he'll be able to shed a lot of eyes on that weight class. If he becomes champion. So good luck to Shu Shu. I'm rooting for him. Hopefully he gets the job done. It's Castro. He got a tall order ahead of him. When you in there with a guy that got 30 fights, and you only got 16 fights, hey man, hey man, that's hard to say.